Good morning,
Hi,
Iris
good
Tanz of
morning.
Fusion Healing.
I
You want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and your story and your girls and how we got to be together?
My name is Iris Tanz, and I am a holistic health practitioner and a licensed acupuncturist by trade. I also incorporate energetic channeling, witchcraft, white witchcraft, and sorcery into my healing practice. And so, what that means is that I draw from different healing elements to combine and collaborate customized treatments for people that not only adjust the physiology and our physical bodies, but also our energetic bodies. And I work with somatic imprints. And so, what that means is that the body takes on physical manifestations of things that we go through emotionally, mentally, traumatically. And the body then stores that information in the physical and physiological part of our systems. Part of my craft is in locating those imprints and physically and energetically extracting them.
I want to know, can we talk different modalities and what, just tell me about that.
So fusion healing is the integration of different modalities, namely Chinese medicine, acupuncture, body work, energy work, channeling. When I'm drawing from different elements, right, the goal is to shift in a way that what I'm doing is I'm finding people's thresholds and I'm pushing just enough to change.
How do you decide what crystals to place where?
Yeah, it's based on the chakras, and it's also a lot of it's intuitive, and also it just depends on what it is that we're trying to do, right? When you're wanting to open and soften the heart chakra, you're going to draw from like a rose quartz, let's say. Right, that's an opening, that's a softening. But when you're wanting to give the heart chakra like more of an amulet, more of like a protector, you're going to draw maybe a labradorite or maybe a malachite. So just depending on what it is that we're trying to do, we'll draw from different tools.
Someone asked if we can explain a little bit more about crystals. So can we talk about crystal healing, physically on our body, or why we gravitate towards crystals, or the energetic and healing powers of crystals?
Yeah, so crystals are obviously made from the earth, and each crystal, based on its makeup, carries a different vibration. And so there's lots of different ways to use crystals, right? We can obviously have them just in our space. We can wear them. We can wear them in jewelry. I'm a big fan of sticking crystals in my bra.
I love that about you.
I have some patients where they have them in their pockets, right? If we're needing some grounding, there's ways to use them obviously in healing and in spiritual practice. It's really hard to use a crystal the wrong way. However, if I'm putting a big slab of tourmaline on my heart and I want to open and soften it, that's probably just it's not going to be the right vibration.
Right. What would the right one be?
Rose quartz is a very common, I think a lot of people either know about rose quartz or have some of it and utilize it. That would be a great one. I also love, for the heart chakra, we're going to draw from the pinks or we're going to draw from the greens. Or every chakra is associated with a different color, right? So the root chakra is associated with red or with like the darker earthy colors. The second chakra is associated, it goes up the rainbow arc. So the second chakra is associated with orange, yellow, green, blue. Really just real basic. Like if somebody doesn't know what to choose, if they'd even just start with the color, that's already going to be. Now within the wheel of the colors, like if you're going to choose like lapis versus kyanite in the blues, there are different intricacies in terms of like how to balance the chakras depending on what the goal is. I think dabbling in ritual is really powerful for people. And there's no real right or wrong. There are certain elements that if you do combine them together, it's going to just not only empower, but balance what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Bringing ritual into our own lives, and there is no right or wrong in terms of people. I think people have the consciousness that it has to be perfect or it has to be elaborate, and it really doesn't. You can really draw things. You can draw things from your own home and place them in a sacred place, whether it's an altar, or whether it's a part of a dresser, and just a place that that reminds you to tap into that space, especially now that we're, that we're home and we're in this new paradigm.
You just tapped into something that I feel like is a theme. So I started doing these Instagram lives right when everything started. And one of the reoccurring things that's come up, and I also, in going inward in this time to connect to my light, I'm finding the reoccurring theme is everything we have, everything we need. It's all inside.
I truly believe that small adjustments can make really big differences. And I think what ends up make or breaking an experience for somebody in terms of stepping in, tapping and leaning in is the thought of, I'm not going to do it right, or I need all these things in order to achieve that goal, which is not necessarily true, because a really small adjustment can make a big difference. Whether it's just taking a few moments out of your day to, even if you don't have any crystals, right? To just like place a hand over your heart and place a hand on your lower abdomen and just closing your eyes and breathing and just feeling the earth beneath you and reminding yourself that you are safe and reminding yourself that you got this and reminding yourself that everything is going to be okay. If people have baths at home, I'm a huge fan of bathing. What I love so much, and this is something that I've been really recommending to people because it's very powerful, is bath and yoga rounds. It literally is like a self-massage. And so if you have Epsom salts, I would recommend that, because Epsom salts help to like draw energy out, right? They like help to extract. Getting into a bath for about 10 minutes and creating a space where you feel really safe and contained. So, if then you're going to either, if you don't have enough space in your bathroom and you're going to go to your bedroom, you might want to like close the blinds because you're going to be unclothed. You're naked. Yeah. Getting on your yoga mat, raw, maybe towel dried, and just moving your body in the way that you feel you need. So not following a yoga teacher and not following a class, following your own body's wisdom. It's so fun. And it's honestly, it's such a great way to connect to listening to your body, feeling your body. And it's honestly one of the most intimate ways of being with yourself.
It's so wild to think that, like, I think I saw you right around the beginning of March. And it's so wild to think just in a couple months how it feels like so much has changed. And like when we come in, and I wanted to ask you about, as we go from the global pause to reemerging, what, if any, wisdom or suggestion you had. But I also find myself really wanting to know and share more with our audience about you and your story. I know we tapped and touched on that, but like when you talk about Germany, Israel, like, could we go back to the shaved head? Like, can we spend a minute or two on, because you have such a fascinating story.
I have a pretty unique life story, I think, in that I was born empathic and navigating around that. And I don't know how many of you know about, indigos and indigo children, but I happen to be an indigo and so are my children. Indigo children are people that are born with special gifts and feel and see things on a level that other people don't. And so what that does is it does allow us to tap in certain ways, but it also, brings in all these other elements that we're not necessarily in our society clued in on. And so a lot of my journey has been around, as I said in the beginning, around like honing that energy and navigating it. When I was 19 years old, I shaved all this hair off. This is all,
it's amazing.
All the hair. I shaved my head and I went out into the wild for 3 months and I lived outdoors for 3 months with a backpack. It was actually an organized outdoor education journey, which at the time I did get college credit for because I went to UC Santa Cruz and that's kind of what we did there. Shaving my head was a very spiritual experience for me. Being me and always having kind of my mane and my hair, and I'm a Leo, and I found that my hair really defined me growing up. I wanted to know what life was like without this thing that defined me. It was the coolest, most liberating experience that I ended up keeping it shaved for quite a few years. It just was like, wow, I don't actually need all of these things to right, define me.
So first and foremost, I love you and I miss you and thank you. And what wisdom would you like to impart until we connect again?
Yeah, I think that, you know, moving from the time that we're in into like reintegration, whatever that looks like, you know, the whatever's come up for you during this time, take that real seriously and find the silver lining and find the blessing and lean into it. Like, don't pull away.